Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tom Lawler, Senior Vice President.
To ask Mike Fortenberry of Fortenberry Roofing from Lubbock, Texas, to introduce Henry Goudreau. Mike will tell you that he was ready to close his doors, and then he met Henry Goudreau. Since that time, he's become a master contractor, a sales award winner for DuraLast, and this year, he's an elite contractor. Please welcome Mike Fortenberry.
Good morning. I have the pleasure to introduce to you a very special person whom I have known personally for several years. This man has helped me turn my business around, made it work for me, and I have used his ideas and systems to double my net profit margin 2 years in a row. We are very lucky to have him here today, but we are even luckier to have him here for the next 2 days doing his profit building breakout sessions and sharing his incredible business building information with us. He is not like most speakers that you have heard. He used to own his own construction business, and it was a very successful business. He was able to retire at a very early age, and then he started helping other contractors build their businesses. I urge you to take the time and attend his forward-thinking business building sessions, where you will find an insight into the exact steps you must take in making your business work for you, increasing your profits, and putting an end to the headaches and frustrations we all share in owning our own roofing companies. He has the ideas and techniques and systems that none of the other so-called gurus have to offer. If you would, please stand and let's welcome to the Contractors Building Business Coach, a man who is recognized as this industry's leading resource for business development, Mr. Henry Goudreau.
How many people are happy to be here? Let's hear a big round of applause. We need a little bit more energy, so I'll remind you, Chicago today, it's 36 degrees with snow showers. Good morning in Miami, right? Yeah. Whoa. Let me tell you, I am happy to be here with you people today. I'm really excited because I'm with my fellow brothers and sisters in the construction industry. Just like each and every one of you, I am a contractor. So what I'm going to be speaking to you about is coming right from my heart. It is things that I had to learn in order to make my business successful. My education is in civil engineering and also in business. I'm a second-generation contractor. My dad was a contractor. And I loved my dad so much, and we had such a great relationship, I elected not to go to work for him. So I started my own business. And as Mike told you, it was a very successful multi-million-dollar business, and I was fortunate enough to be able to sell it and walk away from it, or walk out of it, at the age of 43. Unfortunately, that was not realistic because I got bored real quick. And I kept thinking, what is it that I'm going to do in order to keep myself busy and to help others? So I elected to become a speaker, to become a seminar leader, and to come up here and help so many people like Mike and so many others that I've worked with. Does anybody know what the average net profit margin is in the construction industry? It is 4.6%. That's pathetic. As a matter of fact, most contractors do not understand exactly what net profit is. They take it as a construction draw. So the reality is that they've worked all year and they've made nothing but a paycheck. the people who are working with me, are taking for themselves very handsome, high 5 figures and 6-figure salaries, and still, after taking their salary, the average net profit margin is 22%. How would you like to have that? It's what I am going to be teaching you today. So the question is this: how far are you away from making 2006 a banner year for your business? It's a great question, and one that needs to be asked and addressed by you, because it never ceases to amaze me that well-intentioned, ambitious, and success-driven contractors so frequently stop short of developing that #1 skill that is guaranteed to position them ahead of their competition and leapfrog them almost instantly to real wealth and success. Namely, their IBM, intelligent business mindset. I want you to think about that. Construction industry is all about the numbers. It's not about how fast you can bang nails or you can lay out the felt or anything like that. Yes, they do matter. It's not about how many hours you're willing to put into your business away from your family. It's all about the numbers. You need to understand how you work in your market with and against your competition, with your customers. It's all about the numbers. And that is what we are going to be working on in this keynote, and later on today and tomorrow in my breakout sessions. But for now, I'm going to introduce you to the 7 steps that you must take if you want to elevate your business and personal success in your life. It is actually based on a very successful and long-running article I wrote a number of years ago. The title of it was 7 Ways to Kill Your Construction Business Overnight. I didn't think that was an appropriate title for my keynote, so I changed the title. So we're going to take you through these steps. But first, I want you to focus on the number on the screen. $211,833. That's a mighty big number, don't you agree? That's a lot of money. The question is, what does it represent? Let me tell you. It represents the amount of money that the average contractor with $1 million in sales a year is leaving on the table. It is derived from working with literally thousands of contractors from all over the United States. And it is insanely accurate. Big number. Don't you agree? We all agree it's a big number. But the question is why? Why is this happening? Why are contractors leaving so much money on the table? Precisely because of that lack of that #1 skill, using an intelligent business mindset. Instead of thinking strategically, the great majority of contractors, actually over 98%, think institutionally. And institutional thinking does not work. Of course, there's another group of contractors, well, they don't think at all, and we all know who they are, don't we? Right? These contractors, the ones who are not thinking, They allow their marketplace, their competition, their employees, and their owners to determine the destiny of their business. Instead of them developing the necessary skills to build a successful construction business, they allow everyone else to do it for them. And that doesn't work. As a matter of fact, the chances of ever finding one of those type of contractors, the ones who don't think at all, here at an event like this is remote, because they have such a presumptuous ego, they don't think they need help. Now, if you think this is a big number, imagine for 1 minute what the larger contractors are leaving on the table. Those contractors who are doing $1 million or more in sales in a year. That's also very scary. But allow me to drill down. I'm going to go down a little bit and show you something that begins our journey. That very first step in acquiring an intelligent business mindset. And let's go to step 1. Plug your financial leaks. You must discover how to do that. Everyone has them. Everyone in this room has them happening right now back home in their business to one degree or another. Now let's drill down from the original $211,833 and let's pull out another significant number in what is causing it to leak out of your business. That number is $97,649. Another big number for someone who's doing $1 million in sales. That is leaking out of your business due to the lack of business control systems. In other words, without these systems in place, you don't even know it's missing. It's gone. You never see it. It's usually the first amount of money I can help you get back if you're willing to do the work. You see, right now in your business, without these control systems in place, there are no stopgaps or firewalls to even stop them or to warn you that it is about to happen. And what makes this really scary is that without knowing where the leaks are, you cannot even plug them. You have no clue what is going on. You don't even miss it. You've never had it. So the big question is this. How many of you right now would like to know the exact areas of your business where you need to have these control systems in place in order to plug this massive hemorrhaging of your hard-earned dollars of your business? Raise your hand right now. I want to see everyone. We've got a good group. You know what? I love working with people like you. I want to work with you people. I want to help you. But let me tell you how you can find and discover these leaks in your business. Starting today and tomorrow, you need to come to the breakout sessions. These are the ones that I'm giving. It contains a lot of powerful business building information that you need to know. And so much of it, I had to break it up into 2 segments. Segment 1 and Segment 2. But if you come in, I will help you identify these leaks and show you to the path of correcting them. What I'm going to do, and if you will be brutally honest with yourself, and I mean brutally honest. Put the ego aside. Let's take some time and let me take you through my business evaluation. It's going to identify your leaks that you have in your business because you do not have these control systems in place. And even better than that, I'm going to be able to help you calculate the exact number that is leaking out of your business. Again, it's insanely accurate. Many years ago, I was speaking to 400 roofing contractors. And I believe I was in Cancun. And at the end of the session, this husband and wife team came up to me. And they were out of the Massachusetts area, which, by the way, if you have not picked up on my accent, I am from Boston, where we park the car. We like to go down by the harbor, look at the water, have lobster, and clam chowder. I think I got it all out, right? But they came up to me at the end of the session, and they said to me, Mr. Goudreau, this is the third event that we have gone to, and we have heard you speak. And we wish we had heard you many years ago. Because we've done the business evaluation with you 3 times so far. We're being brutally honest. And we keep coming up with the same number. And I took a look at the number. And it was almost touching $100,000. I said, what are your sales? And they said, $1 million. But this can't be right. I said, yes, it is. Would you like to capture it? Would you like to get it back? They said, yes, we would. And they worked with me for 5 months. And in 5 months, and they worked really hard, too. I'll give them credit for that. And in 5 months, they were getting ready to start their new business year. I'm going to use it using all the new systems and processes that I had taught them. It was a little bit over a year later that I got the phone call one day in my office. And I picked up the phone. And on the other end was the wife. And she was sobbing. I thought something had happened. I remember saying to her, is everything all right? Why are you crying? And she said, Henry, in 16 years of owning this business, we have never put this much money into our personal account. We exceeded the goals that we set for ourselves. We worked the system religiously, and it has paid us back. And if you don't believe that it happens, ask Mike. He will tell you. Here's one of your brothers, ready to close his doors. In the last 2 years, he's doubled and doubled the double in his net profit margins. That's what you're in business for. You are not in business to work long hours, all kinds of headaches and frustrations with everybody and everything, living construction drawer to drawer, making nothing more than a paycheck. You're in business to build equity and wealth for you and your family. And this business is your vehicle. So if you come on to the breakout sessions, and if you take the business evaluation, what this means for you is I'm going to show you how you can turn this coming to this event here in Miami into a huge cash windfall for you. I mean cash that will go right smack into your pocket where it belongs. And I don't know about you people, but my cash belongs in my pocket. I believe your cash belongs in yours. Now that is step one. Plug your leaks. That means you must first learn where they are, and then you must discover how to plug them, how to prevent it from happening ever again. Now let's move on to this one important thought. Both success and failure are the result of thought. Pretty profound statement, people. I don't think a lot of people pay attention to that. So let me repeat it. Both success and failure are the result of thought. What I'm saying to you is this. Please understand what I'm saying to you. If you are having some frustrations with your business, if things are not where you wanted them to be, if things are not going according to your plan that you wanted to have happen with your business, if you're working long hours and feel like nothing's getting done, if you're living construction drawer to drawer, if one minute you have all kinds of work and the next minute you have none, and the same goes with cash. One minute you've got a lot of money, next minute you've got none. If you're working for nothing but a paycheck, you must change your thought process, because things will never change until you do. Both success and failure are the result of thought. You don't like it, change your thought process. I think Einstein said it best of all. Einstein said if you keep approaching a problem with the same type of thought process of solving it, you'll always get the same results. It will never solve until you change your approach to solving a problem. And if you take a look at a lot of great people in this world who have accomplished great things, that is exactly the formula they applied. Take a look at Thomas Edison. Does anybody know how many times Thomas Edison failed trying to invent the light bulb? Well over 1,000 times. But he didn't see it as a failure. He saw it as a method that would not work. So he had to change his thought process and come up with another way to make it work. Both success and failure are the result of thought. So let's go on to step number 2. Utilize strategic thought. Not just thought, strategic. It's a key word. It's one of the things I love about working with contractors who come into the program, work with me, and apply it like Mike. And Mike will first tell you, he's totally changed my mindset. I look at things different. Instead of that tunnel vision that all the frustrations and the heartaches and the headaches give you, you see a big vision. You see the big picture. That's what strategic thought does for you. But in order to develop the strategic plan, that means you have to take everything into consideration. It's not just a plan. It's a strategic plan. I've developed contingencies if this happens, or if this doesn't happen, or if this bad thing happens. We think about everything. I call it optimization. We're going to take a look at our business. We're going to take a look at our competition. We're going to take a look at the marketplace. We're going to analyze the owners. We're going to take a look at our resources, our people, time, and money. And we're going to optimize them to get the most we can out of them strategically. I was listening to the panel a little bit earlier talking about marketing. Marketing is very important to your business. Marketing positions you. Key word here. It positions you. It's one piece of the business puzzle. It is not the solution to all of your problems. It is one piece of the business puzzle. You must learn how to optimize it. So you want to develop your strategic plan. And by the way, whenever we do our thinking process and we think about planning, we do one thing. We put it in writing. Put it down on a piece of paper. Write it out. So often I speak to contractors and I'll say, do you have a business plan? And they say, yeah, I do. Whoa. Look at me, I got a business plan. Yeah, you just reminded me, I've got a business plan. Yes, I do have a plan. Great. Can I see it? No, you can't. Why? Well, it's in my head. People, I'm going to tell you something. Do not leave things in your head, especially a business plan. It's subject to change at any given moment depending on how you feel. We want it on paper. We want to be able to pick it up and look at it, analyze it. Where are we? Are we on track? Do we have to make some adjustments? The construction business is very competitive and very cyclical, which means it's changing constantly. So we need to know what we need to change. It has to be in writing. We have to make it real. Build your steps and goals. Very important. Where will you be 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now? You need to figure that out. Where do you want to be in a year from now? How much money do you want to make? What do you want in sales? How much time do you want to work? How much personal wealth do you want for yourself, income? We need to think about these things. And then we do the most powerful step, and that is we develop our plan to get from where we are now to there. Certain things need to happen. There's no other way. Getting up in the morning, going to work and rolling the dice and allowing everyone to take you wherever they want to and dropping you off at the end of the day is going to make you a very tired puppy. And it's not going to get you where you want to go. So we're going to sit down and we're going to develop where we want to go, and we're going to build the necessary steps to get from here to there. Visualize your end result. What is it? What's it going to look like? Visualization. Very powerful thing. Very, very powerful. If you cannot see it, if you cannot visualize it, you cannot achieve it. It ain't going to happen. It's as simple as that. Because I'm going to tell you, you're probably visualizing something less, something negative. And that you will achieve. You know, Napoleon, great general, won many, many of his battles. As a matter of fact, Napoleon wrote the rules of war, which are still used to this day. And one time someone said to Napoleon, Napoleon, general, why do you win so many of your battles? And his answer was very simple yet profound. Because I am focused on my objective, therefore my obstacles must give way. What I see today is just the opposite. Too many people are focused on their obstacles, so therefore they never get to their objective. Change your mindset. Let's switch that right around. Visualize your end result. Can you see yourself achieving the goals you have set? Can you imagine for one moment how it's going to feel inside when you do, when you finally get there? You've got to be able to do that. Next is implement the plan. You've got to get started. You've got to take that very first step. When I was a young man, I came out of college, and I went to work, and I decided, you know, I want to be a contractor. That's really what I want to do. And if you said to me, you know, what is it that you want to do as a contractor? And I would say, well, I want to make a lot of money, and I want to retire young. And I had 35 established in my mind. I saw myself doing it at the age of 35. I did it at 43, 8 years later. I'm not complaining. Trust me. I made lots of money. I'm not complaining. But I learned a lot of things along the way. So I decided that when I came out of college, the first thing I would do is go to work in engineering and design so that I could figure out how they put projects together and put them out for bid, which I did. And then I went to work as a project engineer for one of the country's largest federal highway builders. And we worked on a project, and on that project we had to move over 1 million yards of dirt and rock. And I learned one profound thing from that. And that is how you move 1 million yards of dirt and rock. People, you do it one shovelful at a time. There's no other way to do it. Each and every day, you need to move so many shovelfuls. And you can calculate how many days you will have moved that 1 million yards of rock and dirt. It applies the same thing with your business. If we sit down and we establish where you want to be, whatever given time and what you want to achieve, and all the necessary steps, they are the shovelfuls, and you start implementing the plan, you start taking action, and you start doing it, you are thereby guaranteeing yourself that you will achieve your goals, that you will achieve and acquire the things that you want so dearly in your heart. So in order to do that, we must use strategic thought. Step 3, take action. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is exactly where people fall flat on their face. This is why the Weight Watching industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. This is why the get-rich industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry. This is why the exercise and so forth industries are all multi-billion, because people don't take action. They start, they stop, they fail. And they come back again, they start, they stop, they fail. It's nothing but a cycle they get themselves into. We need to implement everything on a consistent daily basis, or else you will fail. Some people need to get to failure before they realize they need to change what they're doing. They need to get to that point where they're ready to give up, and then they're willing to commit to the work that is necessary to turn it around. That's fine. At least they're doing it. There's a story about Jim Carrey, the actor. Love Jim Carrey. What I love about him is the way he distorts his face. You ever notice that? The guy can make noises and do things with his face that's incredible. What people don't realize is that when Jim Carrey first started out, he was failing. He was going broke. Matter of fact, he had no food to even feed himself. He was going to get kicked out of his little apartment. He could not get started in the entertainment industry. He actually said to himself, I'm going to have to quit. I've got no choice. I'm hungry. I'm going to have no place to go. I'm going to have to go back and do something else. I guess I can't make it. And he sat down and he thought about it and thought about it, and he realized that he hadn't developed a plan to be successful. And he needed to do certain things. So he sat down and he wrote them all out. And he gave himself a reasonable amount of time to do that. But the profound thing is that he sat down and he wrote himself a check. He visualized the end result he wanted to achieve. And he wrote that check to himself for $20 million. And he put a date on that check. And he said, if I do everything I've figured out I need to do, if I acquire the skills and the knowledge I need in order to do it, and I give myself a reasonable amount of time, on this date, someone is going to pay me $20 million to do a movie. Does anybody know what that movie was? The Mask. And almost right to the day. It's all about implementation. It's about your willingness to take the next step. 6 ways to make it happen. Number 1, fix in your mind what you want to achieve. Remember what Napoleon said, I'm only focused on my objective. Determine what you need to do and have to make it happen. There are going to be certain skills you're going to need to acquire. There's a certain amount of work you're going to need to do. There is some knowledge you're going to need to gain. Some processes, procedures, and methods you're going to need to master. Be prepared to do that. Without it, you ain't going to go where you want to go. You need to take this action. Establish a reasonable date to accomplish it. What's reasonable? Well, I'll tell you a funny story. I'm in my office one day and the phone rings. I pick up the phone, and there's a contractor on the other end. He says, Mr. Goudreau, I am on your website right now. I think I need your help. Can you help me? I don't know. What's your problem? Well, I'm going to do $30 million in sales next year. And I think I need to do something with my business so we can handle $30 million in sales. So, whoa. Wow. Congratulations. But may I ask you a question? Sure, go right ahead, sir. What are you going to do in sales this year? Maybe $2 million. How do you go from $2 million to $30 million in 1 year without having complete, total chaos? Can't be done. He doesn't even know how to systemize his business. Got to be realistic. Establish a reasonable date to accomplish the things you want to accomplish. Next, create a strategic plan. We've got to think about everything. What could happen? What about our marketplace? Who is our best customer? What is it that they want from us? What can I give them that my competition can't? What do I need to sell it for in order to make the profit I need to make at the end of the year that I desire? How can I get the people in my business to do their job correctly and achieve the end result I want every single day? How do I protect my business? What should I do with the money? A lot of questions. Strategically, we take them all into consideration. Next, as I said earlier, put it in writing. Put it in writing. If it's not in writing, it's not real. We have to make this real. You know, many, many years ago, back in the 80s, I met this gentleman, a young guy. I was in Times Square, New York, probably about 1980, 81. And this huge guy came up and put his hand on my shoulder. And I looked at that, and I said, my Lord, that's got to be the biggest hand I've ever seen in my life. And he said, excuse me, sir. I'm doing a free seminar. I want you to come on in and listen to what I have to say. No charge. I just want you to sit in the audience and listen to what I have to say. I guarantee you, you're going to get something out of it. He was so big I couldn't say no. Looking up at this huge man. And I said, okay, and I went in and I sat in the audience and I listened to him. And I learned some things from this young fellow. And he was just a young fellow. He couldn't have been any more than 21 years old. The man's name was Tony Robbins. I'm sure all of you know about Tony Robbins. You see him on TV. He's selling his tapes and so forth. Developed a relationship with Mr. Robbins. Actually, I've even walked on the fire, the hot coals. But he has a word that you need to understand, that you need to develop. Because when we put this all in writing, you must have a passion to achieve it. You must have a passion to make it happen. I love that word, passion. It's a great word. So when we put it in writing, please develop the passion. So you'll come back to it and you'll work it and you want to make it happen. You also have to compare your progress to your written plan every single day. Very important thing. Now, a lot of you people came here by plane. Did you ever think about that whole process? How does that happen? Well, first of all, someone develops a flight plan. Very similar to you developing your strategic business plan. In that flight plan, they tell the pilot exactly what time he's going to take off, how many people he's going to have on board, how much weight, how much fuel he needs, what elevation, what speed, what direction. Everything he needs to know, including what the weather is, all along the route. That pilot goes and he picks up that flight plan and he goes to the jet. And when he gets to the jet, he goes through a system process check. He sits there and they check every system on that plane. Make sure that it's in accordance with the flight plan, everything that they need to satisfy the FAA and for all safety. Just like you should be doing every single day with your business. Checking your systems and making sure that they're working. And then he fires the engines up. But it's not over. He taxis out in the runway. He takes off. They go up to elevation. And it doesn't make a difference if he puts it on automatic pilot or manually he flies it. All along the route, from wherever he left to wherever he wants to go, there are external forces trying to push him off course. It could be tailwinds, it could be headwinds, it could be storms, it could be other airplanes, who knows what it is. Just like your business. Every single day, there are external forces trying to push you off course. But here lies the difference between that airline pilot, and you. And it's very profound. You see, he has something most contractors don't. He has a flight plan. and he can take a look at that flight plan, see where he is, where he should be, and make the necessary corrections to get back on course. I say to you, without a strategic business plan, if you are off course, you don't even know it, and you have absolutely no way of determining how to get your business back on course. Very profound thought, people. Think about that. It'd be almost like renting a car right now and getting in that car without a map, without having any idea where you're going, and just driving. And taking a left, taking a right, stop, go, have no clue where you are. Would that be fun? No. Eventually you'd be so lost you wouldn't know where you are. Imagine getting on the highway and there's not even a sign to tell you where you are. Yet I see so many contractors doing that today with their business. No clue where they're going. But the saddest thing of all, because of that, they have no clue or idea as to how to get themselves on the right track. There are no limitations to the mind except those that we create. Another very profound statement. It never ceases to amaze me how easily it is for our mind to come up with all the reasons in the world not to do something. Did you ever notice that? It's amazing. I even have that problems because some mornings I get up to jog, and believe me, some mornings I wake up and my mind's saying, you don't want to get out of bed today. Why do you want to go jog? You did it the other day. It's amazing. There are no limitations to the mind except those that we create. Funny story, well, actually it's not a funny story, it's a true story. It's a story about Henry Ford. In one day, Henry Ford was a great man. He visualized and developed how to mass produce automobiles so that the average Joe could afford one. And that started the whole revolution that we've got with automobiles. But one day he went down to his engineers, and he walked into the engineering department. He said, hey, engineers, listen to me right now. Everyone listen up. Stop what you're doing. I've got a great idea. I want you to invent me a V8 engine. And the engineers looked at him and said, what? A V8 engine? What's this thing, a V8 engine? I don't know, I got this great idea, invent it. It can't be done. It's never been done. Listen, I'm going to come back in a while, invent me a V8 engine. And he left. And sometime later on in the future, he went back to his engineers. He said, hey, how are we doing with the V8 engine? They said, it can't be done. No one's ever done it before. What is this thing, a V8 engine? And Henry Ford said, look it, this is what I'm visualizing. We're going to make it like this. It's a V8 engine, okay? Now, you guys figure it out. You're the engineers, but this is what I want. And I demand that you do it. It was only at that point that his engineers could see what he wanted and in turn invented the V8 engine. There are no limitations to the mind except those that we create. Step 4, acquiring specialized knowledge. There are two types or two kinds of knowledge. We have general and specialized. Now I'm going to tell you, you can go to any library or any college or any university, and you will find rows and stacked from the floor to the ceiling along every wall of books filled with general knowledge. All the colleges and universities are filled with general knowledge. Yet, most professors have but little money. or else they wouldn't be teaching at the colleges. It is not general knowledge that will make you money. General knowledge opens up your mind so that you can find the path to the key. The key is specialized knowledge. What special knowledge is there that you need in order to accomplish what you want to do? It's out there. You need to go get it. And if you've got the general knowledge, you can find the path to it. It's specialized knowledge. That is the key. Step 5, be persistent and consistent. You know, I wish I could invent the magic pill. You know, give you a pill and everything would change, everything would be better. It does not work that way. Remember what I said earlier. How did I move 1,000,000 yards of dirt and rock? So many shovelfuls every day. This is the same process. Unfortunately, most people give up when they hit a moment of temporary defeat. All of a sudden, they hit a wall of resistance. Or they suffer a setback of some kind. Now, to put step 4 and step 5 together, I'm going to tell you a story about a gentleman from Williamsburg, Maryland, whose name is R.U. Darby. Back in the 1800s, Mr. Darby wanted to be successful. He wanted to seek and find his riches. And at that time, the gold rush fever was going on out in the West. So Mr. Darby decided he's going to head out there and he's going to find himself a stake and he's going to mine it and he's going to be very wealthy. And so that's just what he did. He left Williamsburg, Maryland, and he went out to the West. He finally found himself a place that he could mine. He claimed the stake and he started mining. But at this point, he didn't have much money. All he could afford was a pick and a shovel and a sifter, and he sat there and he started working. And after a few days, he finally came across some gold. He realized there was quite a lot of gold right there, but that he was never going to get it out with the tools that he had. So he took some samples of that gold, very carefully put it into a leather pouch and sealed it and put it in his body so no one would ever see it. He took the time and he covered up his stake, his mine. He didn't want anybody to know that he had even been there, that he had even done any digging. So he made it look like he had never been there. And he marched himself all the way back to Maryland. When he got to Maryland, he convinced his relatives and his friends to give him the money, promising them a return so that he could go back and buy the equipment and the supplies he needed to mine the gold. As a matter of fact, he was so convincing that his uncle said, "I'm going with you. I want to help you." And he did. And they went back and they bought the supplies and they bought the equipment, all the machinery, everything, and they started mining. And they got their first cartload of gold ore and they got ready to send it off to the smelter. And when the smelter got it, they said to him, "This is the purest gold we've ever seen come out of these mountains. You're going to get top dollar for it." Mr. Darby was all excited. Now, he was going to acquire the riches that he so desired. He was going to be famous. He was going to be wealthy. So they went back and they started mining. And they started to get another cartload. Mr. Darby figured that he needed about 8 cartloads of this ore, this gold ore, in order to pay back all the people that lent him money and give them a return for their investment. Unfortunately, somewhere around the 3rd cart, the gold stopped. No more gold. The drill bits went down, came up empty. They kept at it. Mr. Darby said, we are going to continue until we find that gold. And he spent all of his money, used up all of his resources, and he was flat broke. He had to quit. He had to give up. So he called a junk dealer. The junk dealer came up and took a look at the equipment. He said, what will you give me for it? The junk dealer says, I'll only give you this. Take it or leave it. He said, that's pennies on the dollar. He says, take it or leave it. He said, well, I got no money. I got to take it. The junk dealer says, I'll tell you what, you sell me the steak and I'll give you a little bit more money. He says, okay, what will you give me for that? He says, okay. So he sold everything, including his ownership of the mine. And him and his uncle took what little money they had and went back, completely failing, total failure, back to Maryland. What do you think the junk dealer did? Do you think the junk dealer said, okay, let's fire up these machines and let's start digging? No. The junk dealer hired the services of a mining engineer, a geologist who specializes in that. He asked him to come out and take a look at what he had here. Could he tell him where the vein of gold started up again? Mining engineer spent days studying and surveying and sampling and doing everything that he could. And he finally came up with a report and he gave it to the junk dealer. He says, you start right here and you will find the vein of gold. The junk dealer did. The junk dealer started up at that point where the mining engineer told him, the man with the specialized knowledge told him to go here. He became the richest, wealthiest miner in that area. It was the biggest single vein of gold that anybody found. And the sad part was this. It was 3 feet from where Mr. Darby ran out of money and stopped drilling. 3 feet. Your greatest success will be one step beyond that point that you will give up because of failure, because of defeat. Think about that. Failure is a trickster. It takes great enjoyment in tripping you up. It loves to get you so close and then make you stop and make you give up. Be persistent and consistent. Use specialized knowledge. Everything I'm telling you so far will help you turn your business around. Step number 6, understand your numbers. I told you earlier, the numbers make this business work. Once you understand the numbers, you'll see what you need to do. Sales. What do you need in sales? Because some people just think, well, we'll go out and get all the sales that we can. Let me ask a question. How many of you have had the clients from hell? You know, those people who on Monday morning they start their week off by eating their young. Who's had those guys? We all have, haven't we? Right? Now, you ask Mike. Mike will tell you my philosophy that I teach my contractors. You need to qualify the owners. Because some of them you don't want to do business with. And do them a favor. Give them your competition's number. All right? Send them over there. You need to know sales. What's your average sale? Who is your best customer? What is your best work? I have a very simple philosophy. I like to make the most amount of money I can with the least amount of effort. Sorry. I ain't in this for the practice. I don't need it. I didn't need it as a contractor either. And I developed this thing called a project characteristics report, which we use to help us find exactly who the owners are in exactly what is the best work. It's a wonderful instrument. As a matter of fact, when I developed it as a contractor, that was one of the things that made me more money than anything else. Next is the markup. Okay, people, you cannot use bogus numbers for a markup. Stop it right now. You may hear someone say, I mark my work up 10%, 20%. Who cares? You may not be able to use that number. You have your own number. It's unique to you based on what you want to do with your business. Now, when I first start working with contractors, this is the biggest problem I've got. What they should be using for their markup versus what they're doing. And they won't give up this number. Oh, well, I'm afraid I won't get no work. Oh, well, I heard my competition's using it. All the excuses, no reasons. You don't understand. You can't use that one. You need this one. This is what you need to get. Based on your overhead, based on your cost of sales, based on the amount of sales you want to get, based on the profit, the salary that you wanted. It's a very specific number. It's unique to you. Next is cost of sales. That is the cost to you out in the field to turn that job into a physical reality, to make it happen. We need to know exactly what it is. All too often, I see contractors' numbers are so jumbled up, I can't even believe it. They've got things in overhead that should be in cost of sales and vice versa, or they got them all mingled together. How do you know what it's costing you? It's a key piece of knowledge. Once you start to realize what it's really costing you, a wonderful thing happens. Our mind starts to think of how we can reduce the cost. And that's what you're in business to do. Let's give the customer the best possible job with all the service for the least amount of money, and let's make money so we can continue to service them. That's a good philosophy. Taking on all the work in the world for nothing produces nothing, people. Taking on all the world for making a little bit of money still produces a little bit of money. You got to understand how these things come together. Next is overhead. Overhead should be lean and mean. Should not be big, fat, and ugly. But it does have a tendency, especially in good times. You know what? We'll buy this. We'll get that. Don't worry. Hire a person. Everything's going good. The phone won't stop ringing off the hook. No. We have formulas that will tell us, and I teach this to my people, how many people we need to have in that office based on what we want to do. And that's what we do. We don't hire people just to hire them. We hire the people that we need. And we expect them to produce very specific results. Your overhead should be lean and mean. Next is profit. I told you earlier, the average net profit margin for all contractors, and it doesn't vary that much from particular trades, is only 4.6%. That must be why we have such a heavy turnover in this industry. Within 2 years of starting a business, half of those contractors file bankruptcy, quit, or give up. Within 2 years. If you don't believe me, check your yellow pages. They're gone. They're history. We need to know our numbers. That's where the money is made. Okay, let's take a quick look. Here is a contractor whose sheet looks like this. His markup is 1.34. His sales are $1 million. Cost of sales, $743. Gives him a gross profit of $257. Overhead of $187,000. And net profit of $70,000. Unfortunately, there's one thing wrong. This is an actual contractor, by the way. The $70,000 he takes as a draw to support his family. So therefore, the business makes no money. he has no equity. He's not building equity, so he's not getting wealth. Because the year before that, he only drew $50,000. In the year right now that he's into, he's losing money, so he hasn't taken a draw yet. That's the roller coaster ride, because he doesn't understand his numbers. So we're going to take him, we're going to put him in a different format. The format is the $70,000 that he needs, which is a reasonable salary. We stick that into the overhead. So his overhead increases to $257,000. We sit down and we come up with a reasonable net profit money number that he should be making. And if you do not know how to calculate that, I can show you 3 ways to calculate it, but I will show you at the breakout session one definite thing that you need to calculate it with. So if you come, I will show you. So calculate his profit to be $156,770. Now when we add those two together, we get a gross profit of $413,770. Taking a look at his cost of sales, any reductions, any ways we can improvement, change the numbers wherever we've got to, we come up with $743,000. When you add the gross profit to the cost of sales, his new sales number is $1,156,770. In order to make this formula work, in order to acquire what he wants, he has to sell every job at a markup of 1.57. Far different than the previous markup number he had. This is strategic thinking. This is intelligent business mindset. This is understanding what I've got to work with and learning how to make it work for me. It's the process that you must learn to go through if you ever want to make money. Step number 7, work within your capabilities and capacities. People. We are limited by time, people, money, experience, and knowledge. You only have so much of it. That's all you've got. You've got to learn to respect it. You've got to learn to understand what it is and use it to your advantage. Or else you're going to spin your wheels. Bonus step number 8. Here's a freebie. Build a business that works for you. How's that? Yeah. I don't know about you, but that's what I want. I don't want a business that I'm working in or I work for. I want a business that works for me. That's why I'm taking all the risk. In order to accomplish that, you must first systemize your business. You must systemize your business. Figure out all the steps and procedures, the methods that you need to have in place. Next, standardize it so everyone knows what they've got to do. It's one of the first steps I take contractors through. You see, typically, a typical contractor owner feels that he has to do everything himself. You don't. Replace yourself with your systems. Here's another bonus step, number 9. Follow the proven path. Stop reinventing your business. Let's get it on the right path to where you want it to be. Use a demonstrated business model, something that works. Use it. Why not? It's called leverage. You're leveraging off of something that is already proven to work. You don't have to reinvent it. It's been invented for you. Find a mentor or a business coach. What's so wrong with having someone that you can call up and you can say, look, I'm thinking about doing this, or I've got this little bit of problem, or I'm trying to put this together. Can you help me? What's so wrong? Why is it that everyone's ego is, I don't need to speak to anybody? People, in this business, I have a business coach. I don't do this all on my own. I have someone that I can call. I spend a lot of money going to see him, to hear him speak, to buy his materials, to work with him. You need to do the same thing. Most important thing of all, use the power of the element of association. I'm going to tell you right now, people, You can either flock with the turkeys or you can soar with the eagles. It's your choice. But I'm going to say this. If you flock with the people who are doing it, the eagles, who are using it, who are working it, you can live off of that energy source. They will help you. If you hang around with the people who are not doing it, you're going to develop that mindset. Use the power of the element of association. Successful contractors do not look at their families, their business, or their finances as they are. They do one simple but profound thing. They look at life as it can be, not as it is. They picture life as it will be after the application of their persistent, intelligent efforts. Progress is made only when potential is envisioned and strategically planned to become a reality, not when it is restricted by the lack of specialized knowledge. Each human being has two kinds of vision: eyesight and mindsight. Eyesight sees only the things as they are. Mindsight is different. Mindsight sees things as they could be. Mindsight is the power to see not what it is, but what it could be when human intelligence is applied. Mindsight is the power to dream. Mindsight forms a picture of the future, the time we want, the success we desire, the wealth we want, that optimum point in our life that we want to achieve. Don't allow yourself to become a victim of mediocrity. Seek out specialized knowledge that you need to achieve the dreams you envision. Don't flock with the turkeys. Learn to soar with the eagles. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you at the breakout sessions. Thank you.